Hi guys, so I want to review the 12 Pro Max here to see if it's worth it to get in 2026. Yeah, let me just get straight to the point. Yeah, it is. Especially if you pick it up for 7 to 8,000, then it is. It still rocks like the triple like 12 megapixels. In terms of video, this phone is good. Portrait pictures, I mean, there is nothing to comment in terms of the camera. The camera is good. It does beat the S22 in my opinion, the normal one. So if you want to buy it solely for those things, then yeah, go ahead. So the other thing that I want to talk about is the camera. So yeah, before I talk about the camera, it does pick up a lot of fingerprints. So I just prefer use it with the case if you want to pick up these phones. Because of the steel on the side here, they pick up a lot of fingerprint. And then the other thing, whenever you're buying this phone, just make sure that the Face ID it's working. So on this one, it does work, the Face ID. But yeah, let's just talk about the cameras. So the camera, yeah, no, definitely the cameras are perfect on this phone. There is nothing more, like I've already said. It has a good camera. You're still able like to take 4K 60. It does like support raw like pictures and all of these things. Let me just take a clip of a video right here so that you can see right here the fireplace. Now let me show you like the quality. You can see that this video is high quality, man. It's really good, whether it's the video, the pictures. This phone is still capable, you understand. For buying a mid-range Android phone, just pick up this phone, you will be sorted. I'm telling you, you won't go wrong. Plus iOS is always reliable in terms of the software update. So you're always going to get at least 2 years or more on this phone in terms of software update. Yeah, so in terms of camera, the pictures, I don't think this is something that you have to worry about. Yes, of course it does have the 12 megapixels, but keep in mind that just because a phone has 12 megapixels does not mean it can't take good pictures. So it takes good pictures, this phone. The most important thing is not the megapixel size. Don't check these things the most. For example, with the Samsung, the S25 Ultra, it comes with 200 megapixels zoom, but on default, it takes pictures at 12 megapixels. You understand? So this 200 megapixels is just a gimmick. It's just a marketing term for zoom and all of these things. In my opinion, it's just a gimmick. So what these things does is for a phone to take good pictures, you need something called your lens needs to be bigger, to let in more light. That's how you're able to like to capture good pictures. So this phone, the lens is not the biggest, but yeah, it is good enough for like capturing pictures. You can see right here. Let me just, it's just that you can't see because it's on the video. But in terms of the pictures, you can see that this one has like good pictures and all of those things. So yeah, in terms of the camera, it's still one of the best in my opinion. I won't pick up an Android mid-range phone. I'll pick up this one, for the price. Compare that to some mid-range Android phones, you pay more than this. So for the price that you're paying, this phone is worth it. Even if I wait to pick up an Android phone for around 6K, the mid-range, I would rather wait and add 2K on top and then get this one. This is not the war between iOS or Android. I use both of them, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, like I've been using this phone a lot, so I know what this phone is capable of. So this phone still capable, still nice. The build, you can see, the build is really nice. So in 2026, definitely, I'm telling you, you're never gonna go wrong with this phone. But just make sure that you use it with a case, because it does pick up a lot of fingerprints, and then it does get a bit warmer. And then the battery, just make sure that your battery is higher, and then you're gonna be happy. I'm telling you, this phone, man, is still good for for a lot of things. So you won't go wrong with this phone. But just keep in mind that you get the 256 gig, or you do get what do you call, 128 gig. I don't think it's enough. Just get 256 gig or higher, and then make sure that your battery healthy it's around, you can see this one is 256. Just make sure that your battery health it's around 85 and upwards. So this one battery health is around 90. It's 90, so you will be sorted in terms of those things. you know so in terms of the display is still an OLED, so you can't even tell if it's on or off because the blacks are true. But you can see here the display, it's an OLED, it's a good display. The phone is really good. You'll see like how crispy the display is still in 2026. So in terms of display quality, there is nothing to talk about here. The display is still OLED, is still the standard. Of course, it can't go like higher than 60 Hz, or it does not have like the latest like late or anything like that in terms of brightness, but you can see that the phone is still good. And then in terms of speakers also, still has one of the lowest speakers on the phone. not the most loudest, but yeah, still one of like I think that's in terms of picking up like a 13 or the 12 Pro Max, I would rather just buy the 12 Pro Max. It's much better, you know, compared to the normal 13. Of course, the 13 Pro Max, if you have money, then that one is much better than this. But yeah, in terms of display or for use like for consuming media or anything like that, this phone is gonna do well in 2026. So it's a phone that if you wanna pick it up in terms of just display only, the phone is still good. So now let's talk about gaming. So this phone, of course, this phone is being used by my girlfriend, so it's not gonna have a lot of games, just more pictures. But yeah, you get the point. So you're still like you're not gonna notice if it's 60 Hz or what in terms of gaming, you know. But you will notice it gets warmer. But if it's something that you don't mind, you use it with a case, then it's always gonna be fine. You know, in terms of gaming, I don't think you are compromising a lot of things. Plus, you're able to play like AAA games here, so you know that's the advantage. You're able to still play like games like Call of Duty or what without anything like crashing or what. You know, so this phone is still capable of playing like any games. I'll just load more games just to test it. But I've used this phone. I know that in 2026, yes, it's still a good phone. You're able to play like high quality games. You know, it's just a perfect phone. You understand? If you were if you had money and then they say choose between like the normal 13 and the 12 Pro Max, just pick the 12 Pro Max. Plus, you can pick these phones for around 7,000, 6,000. You know, which is it's a still deal in my opinion. You know, especially in terms of camera. So if you want to buy it for content creation, camera, what, all of those things, this phone in 2026 is still worth it in my opinion. You know, you don't have to buy every new phone every single year. You understand? You don't have to break like your balance for you to get the best phone. This phone right here for the price, it is the best phone. So the last thing that I want to talk about is the software. So you is running the latest software, as you can see, you know, the the IS 26.2.1, but it does not have like things like Apple Intelligence. But if you don't mind all of those things, then this is definitely a good phone.